Welcome here to this session today on modelling. It's a pleasure to see you all. It really is a beautiful day here in Croydon town. Sun is shining. It's actually 34 degrees, so it's pretty hot here. Welcome here, everybody. We're still waiting for a few people to sign on or sign in. How are we all doing today? See some new faces here and some familiar faces. I don't say old faces anymore. Familiar faces. Who's new? Who's not been with us before? Put your hand up. So we got Gary. Hey Gary, how you doing?
Very good, very good. It's good to be on this. I did NLP Practitioner back in 2004 with John Thompson of Metropolis NLP, yeah. And then I did Masters in 2005, but I've not done anything since. So when I saw this, I thought, yeah, I've always wanted to see how you do things, Michael. So I'm looking forward to this.
Well, you're very welcome here, Gary. Are you in, I know you're Scottish. Are you in Scotland or somewhere else in the world?
No, I'm in Scotland. Yeah.
Whereabouts in Scotland are you from?
I'm in Dunfermline.
Oh, fair play. We're very well. How's things up there now? How are things in a lockdown or we're opening?
We're easing. Yeah, everything's easing and it's getting better. Progressing forward. Aberdeen got shut down again, but yeah, everybody's starting to have some form going forward of. But it's actually good. It's been the best time ever because I've got 4 kids. Right. It's been the best time ever to have a family unit. And none of them always going out or whatever, so to have that family unit indoors, it's been brilliant. But yeah, the COVID-19 bit.
How old are your kids?
So the oldest is 19. Right, so Caitlin's 19, Megan's 16, Ailey's 11, and Aaron is 8.
Oh, lovely. I've got 4 kids, but they're all grown up. I had the same experience, really. So my youngest is 25, and my oldest is 31. But getting up together, although we live quite local, was always very difficult because everyone's so busy. You know, but in the lockdown, you know, well, it was on Zoom, you know, we really reconnected in such a nice way. There were a lot of bonuses or sort of positives come out of that. You're very welcome here, Gary. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
I haven't seen John Thompson for a while, so I must say hello to him. He's not here, but who else we got in the house? 1 second. Harjeet is new. Hello, Harjeet. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you, Michael. Nice
You're
to
very
see
welcome.
you.
Whereabouts in the world are you? Sorry, where are you?
India, Bombay.
Whereabouts in India?
Bombay.
Bombay.
Yes.
You're very welcome here, all the way from Bombay. I think we've got a few other people here from India. Have you done NLP before, Harjeet?
Yes, Michael. I'm a master practitioner.
Right.
And I've also done coaching, ICF coaching.
Good. Good.
Richard Bandler's, I think, associates are there in India.
Yeah,
so I've done from them. Yeah.
You're very welcome here, Harjeet. It's a pleasure to have Harjeet all the way from India. Let's give our new people a round of applause and a big NLP welcome. Now we go from Scotland, India, we'll go over to Texas, and say hello to my mate Terrell, all the way in Texas. How are you, Terrell?
Good morning, Michael, Carroll. Good morning. Good morning.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Oh, yes, good afternoon. That's right. Yeah.
I always get a bit jealous of the people who've still got all the day left because you've got loads of time. How's things in Texas today?
Very good.
Good, good. Are things opening up there now? Nice cup of tea?
No, things aren't opened up, no.
All right, sorry about that. Worse, okay. All right, we send our love to our American friends where things are a bit of a challenge. We've got Texas and we also have, whenever we go to America, we'll go across to the other side of America to Miami. Miami. How's things in Miami?
You're doing great, doing great. I mean, as great as they can be right now. I think it's awesome. Actually, my friend Melinda is coming down today from Orlando.
Oh, Melinda. Yes. How's Carly?
She's great. She's in Texas. Actually, she's in Texas right now.
Wow, she's in Texas.
Yeah, she's working over there. She's a medical recruiter, so she's over there. I think she's coming back either today or tomorrow. Right. But yeah, she's doing great.
Well, say hello to Melinda from us when she arrives.
Will do. I'm going to practice some hypnosis techniques on her, so she's excited, and I'm even more excited.
Fair play. Enjoy that.
Say
hello to Dorothy in Guatemala. She's our translator as well. Hey, Dorothy, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Very, very good. Such a beautiful day here in Croydon town. Yeah. And we're quite, we love delivering these courses, but this weekend is the first one we've had on for quite a while. So I know I keep going about this decking. I had this decking built outside my house. It's a really nice decking. So I've invited my team around tomorrow. I'm going to cook for them. I'm going to have drinks on the decking in the sunshine. So we won't be doing any NLP streaming tomorrow. We shall be chilling out. Lots of sunblock for me and having some fun. So welcome everybody. We'll get around to see the rest of you later. It's nice to see you back. Matthew, hi Gail, Stephanie, Christina from Spain, David from Chichester, Maria from Costa Rica, Lena from Poland, right? See, Haji from India, Nick from Bournemouth, Warren from near Gloucestershire, right? Rocky Dong from China, Sajid from, I know if I'm originally, hang on, it'll come back to me.
Qatar.
Qatar, don't say it, Qatar. Elisa from, where are you from, Elisa? Hello.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Buenos días. ¿Cómo están?
Hola, ¿cómo está? ¿Dónde vives?
Vivo en Argentina,
Okay.
pero soy peruana.
Pardon?
She lives in Argentina, but she's from Peru.
I see. Welcome from Argentina. Have you been with us before? Oh, you have, yeah? Yes, I remember that. Argentina, Scotland, Harsh from India, Christina from Colombia, right?
No le entendí.
You're in Colombia.
Bien. Mira esta chica.
No, yo estoy en México, pero soy venezolana.
Oh, I'm sorry, I always get that one wrong. Mexico.
Pero soy venezolana.
That's it, you're from Venezuela, but you live in Mexico. Dorothy from Guatemala, Megan from Miami, Michael from Croydon, Maddie from Isle of Wight. Hope everything's okay. Thanks for your email. Sorry I didn't reply earlier. And Dale's from Erith, David's from South Africa, and we are a wonderful community of learners. We're going to have some good fun today, and we're going to explore modeling, what it is, how to do it, how to present your models, and so on. So we've got about 2.5 hours to go through this. So let's begin. Let's just present you what I want to cover today. I'm going to firstly present you with the modeling process. Which most of you who've studied with me will be familiar with, because I present it in most of my courses. This is a process that John Grinder and Richard Bandler used when they originated the modeling process. So we're going to go through that. So you've got the outline. I want to then do an exercise, all practical, on one part of this, which is when you get this part, the rest is quite easy, yeah? So I want to do a little exercise on unconscious uptake or unconscious learning. Then I'm going to talk about modeling presentation skills, how to present. Because you're going to be a modeler, you've got to be able to present. As always, I've got an action-packed schedule. It's kind of like, I always want to give out as much as I can. So we've got 2.5 hours to cover this. We overrun a little bit. We overrun. So that's the agenda today for this session. That sound good to everybody? Sound good? Good stuff. Good stuff. So when NLP began inductively. So the co-creators of NLP, they didn't sit down and say one day, let's invent a field. It actually came from a series of really a desire to explore, you know, and a desire to stretch and challenge themselves. So when NLP began, it actually began with two people, the first kind of incarnation of NLP, and those two people were called Richard Bandler and Frank Puslik. Now, Frank and Richard, they're both in the University of California, Santa Cruz. Both had been in quite unusual and extreme circumstances before enrolling. Frank had been a medic in the Vietnam War and had seen horrendous things. And Richard Bandler had been a member of gangs in Oakland and had seen horrendous things. So these guys, you know, they had a background. And both were interested in psychology, psychotherapy. And Richard Bandler got a job with Bob Spitzer, the publisher of Virginia Satir's and Fritz Perls books, science and behavior books. And he began to study Fritz Perls. What Richard was very good at, he was very good at being Fritz Perls, and Frank as well, but Richard had a speciality because he had watched all those old audio tracks, also all those old video tracks, watched Perls in action, you know, and he was very good at being just like Perls, you know. So if you like, he had the how. He knew how to do it, but he didn't know what it was he was doing because he had assimilated it unconsciously. And that's how John Grinder got involved in NLP. He wanted to understand the structure of what he was doing for Richard Bandler when he was being Perls. And when Grinder actually saw, Grinder didn't know who Perls was. You know, so when he eventually went down and he saw Richard Bandler in action, being Fritz Perls, or acting as if he's Fritz Perls, and then when Grinder watched those old, you know, those old films of the real Perls in action, Grinder said Bandler was a better Perls than Perls, you know. So that's kind of like how modeling began. So this is how it kind of works when we do a modeling, because after that, they kind of formalized the process. John Grinder managed to provide a description of a code for what it was that Perls was doing. They then took that same process to Virginia Satir, created what we call in NLP the Meta Model, and then they took it to the next level with Erickson, and this is the process they used. Number one, find a model of, what am I going to write next? Find a model of
Excellence.
Very good. Number two is, what am I going to write next? Unconscious uptake or unconscious assimilation. Number three is to deploy the pattern. So once you've unconsciously assimilated it, to deploy it, to practice it. Number four is to code it. Number five is to teach it. So what does all this mean? This is actually follows a process that you engaged in when you were a child. Now, if you think about it, when you learn your mother tongue, and many people here will speak in different languages, yeah, what do? You don't sit down and study it. You're not taught the verbs. You're not taught the nouns. You're not taught the grammar. You just copy what's around you. Yeah, because you are in what we call in NLP a know-nothing state. Okay, you don't have filters. So this is essential for this part of the work. So a child doesn't have internal dialogue because he can't speak. It's a child's totally open, yeah, and an explorer. You know, now we are built to speak a language, but the way that child learns a language is by copying the gestures, the tonality, and the language structure. And from a state of know-nothingness, in a pretty short period of time, they acquire a language, they practice it, and then their code for it is when they go to school and they start to learn about verbs, nouns, and so on. Now, how many of you here have tried to learn a second language in a formal structure? Yeah? It's easy, right? Sitting there, listen to all those verbs, nouns, adjectives, past participles, etc., etc. Isn't it great fun, yeah? And that's not how we learn languages. They're teaching it the wrong way round. They're teaching you how to be perfect first, without having the opportunity to trial and error. A child's language isn't perfect when they're 2, also when they're 3, but after a year's exposure to, well, they start talking about 18 months. So after a year or so exposure of speaking, they can speak better than most people after a year of learning a foreign language, because they're not trying to be perfect, you know? And this is the key thing about learning. Trying to be perfect when you learn or model is a disabler, yeah? Because you are thinking too much. So from a state of know-nothingness, in NLP, what we do in this section, we go into second position. So we go to second position. Everybody familiar with second position? Everyone familiar with what second position is? Everyone familiar with second position? So second position is where you, well, some will do a hand up. So we got 3, these are called perceptual positions. Position 1 is when you're in your own filters. You're experiencing the world by your own filters. Position 2 is where you adapt the filters or perception of another person, okay? So this is other. And position 3 is when you are in an observer position. So in second position, we assume the body language, the breathing rhythms, the language structure, and as close as we can, become the other person. All right? This makes sense? So in second position, and in a know-nothing state, so we're not thinking, we act as if we are the model and behave until we have a degree of competency with what it is that we are modeling, okay? then we practice it, and then we come to the code. Making sense? So let's practice a second position so we get a sense as to what this is. Right, I'd like you all now, this will be good fun, to second position me, okay? So what we're going to do is copy what I do, all right? Everyone's got it. Okay. Now I'm going to go. Very good. I've never had that experience before. I've had it in classes. So a second position, now a know-nothing state, this is key to this, yeah? A know-nothing state is where you kind of clear your mind completely, so you are not judging, you know, am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? Yeah? Should I be doing this? So your mind is open. Now, a very good way to do this is peripheral vision or a new code NLP game. So we're just start with a peripheral vision exercise, just so we open our filters, yeah, and then we're going to go into a totally open state, yeah, and then we'll practice like modeling each other. Sound good? Okay, so what I'd like to do now is just to focus your attention on a spot ahead of you, preferably on a flat surface. And as you focus your attention on a spot ahead of you, on a flat surface, I'd like you to expand your peripheral awareness so you're aware of a meter, so it's half a meter either side of that spot. And that expands your peripheral awareness so you are aware of a meter either side of that spot. And now expand your peripheral awareness so you become aware of everything that's in front of you. So you can, the whole field opens up, but stay focused on the spot. And now expand your peripheral awareness so you're aware of what's on the side of you. And now bring your attention to me, but keep that state. Very good. Now, how do you, we're going to break it down, which kind of takes you out of state a little bit. What I want you to do now is kind of like just body scan, get a sense how you feel your body. Now, get a sense, what would it be like to be over there or behind you, looking at you? How would you, if you were over there looking at you, how would you describe your body? In terms of physiology. How would you describe your breathing? Now what I'd like you to do is to stand up and look at him or her over there in the chair. Look at him or her over there in the chair. Look at the breathing rhythm, the skin tone. How would you describe that state you're seeing in him or her over there? And now go back into your, what, just take a couple more minutes to do that. Go back into your chair now and assume a state. Again. Now what I'd like you to do is to think of somebody, it could be a famous person or a mentor, somebody you admire, somebody you respect. And I'd like you to imagine they're in a different place, somewhere to your right or left, not where you stood and looked at yourself, just and have a look at that person. And as you look at that person, how would you be breathing if you were breathing in the breathing rhythms they use in the activity that you admire that they do? What would you be saying if you were saying the words that they say that you admire? How would you be standing? Now I'd like you to stand there and act as if you're that person. So you're going to go and stand like them. Talk like them. You can talk. Breathe like them. You take a little walk around. Walk around as if you are them. Just like don't think about it, just act as if you are that person. And just stay doing that. Talk like them, walk like them, be that person. Very good. Now bring that person back to the chair. So you can come in and sit, excuse me, sit in a chair like them for now. And that looked really good. So I want someone to, who wants to share? You got to introduce yourself as if you are them and say a few words. Who wants to share? Harsh is such a great sport. We've got Harsh here.
Good evening, everybody from India. This is Amitabh Bachchan, superstar of the millennium. And how are you doing, Mr. Michael?
I'm doing very good, thank you, Mr.
Amitabh Bachchan.
How are you? I'm doing very good. Thank you very much for joining us. That's very good. Well done. Now, that's good. He stretched himself. You could see there's a difference. Elisa did a good one, I could see. So we're going to go to now. Show us what you did. No mic.
Can I share?
Yeah, hang on. We just got Elisa on. Then we'll come to. Show us your model, Lisa. No mic. We'll come back to you. You got it now? Here we go.
Hola.
Hola. Share what you want. Share your
Hola,
model.
hola, ¿me escucha?
Yeah, that's good. We hear you.
Ah, perfecto. Sí, yo me sentí muy bien haciendo el personaje de Louis Hay.
Louis Hay. Oh, very good.
Ajá.
You got show us a bit more.
Muéstranos un poco de Louise Hay.
Ahora me paro y camino. Bueno, ella habla mucho del amor, del perdón, y de esa manera llega a más personas y transmite eso, ¿no? El amor hacia uno mismo, perdonarse para estar mejor y sanar el alma, como ella dice.
Okay, very good, very good, very good. We'll get one more now. Who else wants to share?
Can I?
Yes.
Okay, actually, I have my spiritual guru, so I was just trying to imitate him and
model him.
Yeah. So
show us him.
Actually, I felt that his face is like my face. That was the real experience.
Yes, but you're not in it now. So what would you do? Because I saw it. Stand up again. Go back to where you were and bring him to the chair and talk to us as if you're him.
Come again. Come again.
Okay. So I'd like you to stand up, go back to where you were when you were the guru, and then bring him back into the chair.
Okay.
You can show us.
Okay.
All right.
It's a difficult part. Let's try.
You're very brave. So good. We'll do it.
Pardon me?
We will do it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes. I think he, as I'm him, so he's a jolly guy. Right?
So you had it when you sat down,
Yes.
and you started thinking about it, yeah? Which is fair enough because you're in front of a lot of people. When you sat down, you had a different posture.
Okay.
And the minute you started to think about it, you started to describe it, yeah? Which is very good learning. I'll come back to that in a minute, Haji. Thank you very much for sharing, by the way, everybody. Thank you very much to Haji, Elisa, and Harsh for sharing, yeah? So in essence, what we've just did is firstly an exercise on opening ourselves up, yeah? We've done a first position in that exercise, which is open. We went to third and observed ourselves. Yeah, and then we went to being in second, and we accessed, if you like, the persona temporarily of somebody whom we admire to become like them. Okay? Now, how many of you felt, you know, relatively different when you went into the second position? Yeah? Now, that is the basis of modeling, everybody. That's the key. Yeah. Now, what Harjit did, and I've got to say, he was very brave. You know, he did a very good second when he was in the exercise, and he felt a difference in his body and in his face. You know, but then when he sat down, I started talking to him. He was in a kind of a third because he was talking about the model, not being the model. Does that make sense? Yeah. So then when he went out and became the model again, when he sat down, you could see there was a difference. And then he had some internal dialogue and started to describe it. This is not criticism, Haji, it's just a good observation, yeah?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Actually, it was difficult for me to express him. And so that I was not able to express him because I was him. So it was really difficult.
Yeah, yeah, but you're not, you just act as if you are him. Yeah, and express yourself as him. So it's very good. Now, this is what happens, you see. The idea is we can learn so much from other people through modeling. Yeah, acting as if we are them. Yeah, and once you've got the skill, you then go to third. Yeah, and then you kind of work out what it is you are doing, so you have a description of the skill. Does this make sense? Yeah. So the key thing here now in modeling, yeah, is really getting in touch, or the ability to do a good second position. So now we'll do a little exercise. Let's check the time. How many of you here are interested in hypnosis? Show me your hand if you're interested in hypnosis, yeah? You like trance. 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 Transity. Transity. Trance. Very good. So now I'm going to introduce you to, we're going to model a hypnosis session. Okay? Sound good? All right. And so now I'm going to be the hypnotist because I'm really good at it and not modest. Yeah. So, and then you're going to model me. When I do this, obviously have your microphones off, I'll be really loud. You're going to model me and my body language as I do this. and then you're going to do it with each other in a session. And all you've got to do, because most of you know me pretty well from experience anyway, is just act in the hypnosis session as if you're me. Okay? Make sense? Now I'm going to do this with a demo. I'm going to do a demo. So when we do a demo with the subject, everybody else, you turn your camera off. So no one's going to be, so then you can only see me and the demo. Also, you've got your privacy there. Yeah. And you just got to act, you just got to do everything I do. Well, if I scratch my head, you haven't got to do that. All right? Oh, well, some of you aren't now. That makes sense to everybody? Now, I don't want you to write anything down. I want you to act as if you're me. Yeah, and then you're going to carry that into the exercise. It's not about getting it right. It's just about practicing being in a know-nothing state. Yeah, and then going into the exercise. We haven't started yet, but well done, those of you who have started. So who would like to be my demonstration subject here for the hypnosis? We have these two hands always go up so quickly, Megan and Harsh. So that's good. All right. Now, I like to put things around as well. Rocky's another one. Anyone else? Warren? Maria?
Sham.
Sham, yeah?
Yeah.
Have you been here before, Sham?
Yeah, I attended the Persuasion Masterclass.
Okay. So you and I don't know each other that well yet, do we?
Yeah, I mean, just one class I attended, so that's why I know.
All right, so I'm going to go with Sham because, you know, it's a bit more real in that sense because with Megan and Harsh, they know me. I just sort of go, tra, and they're going to go into a trance. Yeah, you know, because they know me. Excuse me. And they've attended a lot of these sessions, whereas Sham, he's just attended one of these sessions, so he has less experience of me. So it'll be a bit more realistic, yeah? Is that fair enough? So everybody else now, you can turn your camera off, yeah? Except you, Sham. And then we're going to take you into a little hypnosis session, okay?
Thank you.
So just to clarify, everybody, if you click on someone's profile that doesn't have a camera on, you can go hide screens and you can hide non-video participants. And that will just show Michael and Sham on screen.
There we have it, it's me and Sham. How are you doing today, Sham?
Good, good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Very good. So I just need to see, are you sitting in a chair that you can sit back in? Okay, that's good. So Sham, as you're sitting there now, I'd just like you to relax your body. And as your body is relaxed, I'd just like you to put your attention on a spot on the wall, or a spot ahead of you. And as you look at that spot, I'd just like you to notice 2 or 3 other things around that spot. Perhaps the color on the wall. Any images or pictures that might be there or something else?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And now as you do that, you can just get a sense that you can tune into the sound and rhythm of my voice. And as you're aware of the sound, that's right, and rhythm, of my voice. You could be aware of any other sounds that are in that room, the computer sound, or any sound outside. Very good. And now, I'd like you to be aware of the feeling of your back against a chair. That's right. And your hands resting where they're resting. And your feet on the floor. As you're aware once again of the spot and what's around that spot. And you can let your eyes close if you wish. There we go. And as your eyes close, you can be aware of your inner visual experience. That's right. You're aware of the sounds around you and the sounds of inside. Your heartbeat, your breathing rhythm. And as you're aware of the sounds inside, you can be aware of your internal feelings and sensations. The feeling inside your body. Any internal movements or rhythms. As you become aware now once again of your inner visuals, inner auditories, and inner experiences, as you begin to enjoy this state you are in. Just relaxing more and more. Relaxing more and more. That's right. Enjoying this moment of inner time, inner reflection, connecting with your deeper self. Feeling the rhythm inside of Sham. That's right. Feeling what it's like to be truly you. The real you. The real you. Connecting with your deeper parts. Enjoying a moment of personal honesty in terms of being true to yourself. Because being true to yourself is the most worthy thing you could ever do. Because you can only be honest and true to others when you're true to yourself. It's just like loving yourself deeply. You can only love another deeply when you love yourself deeply. Enjoying this moment, this special moment that your unconscious mind is creating for you now. And now, as you take a deep breath in and out, you could just begin to orientate your attention back to the now. Welcome back.
Thank you.
How was that?
It was a great experience. One new thing which I could experience is like initially when I started relaxing, it is like some weird kind of picture was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I'm in a particular state, I could hear the sound which is happening very, very far away, which I couldn't hear before.
Beautiful, beautiful. So thank you very much, Sham. It was a lovely demonstration, and it was a pleasure to share that experience with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is excellent, because as I say, Sham and I really only met, I haven't ever had a conversation, a few questions online in the last course, on the persuasion course, and you see how deeply he went there. So that is a very nice piece. Now, did you all model me? You didn't go to trance. You would be in a trance, but it's for modeling, right? Because now you're going to do it. So there's no explanation. Some of you know the technique, but the idea is obviously, Sham, someone else has to do that with you because you were in the trance. The idea is, for this session, is to act as if you're Michael Carroll. And if you carried on doing that, then you would realize what a weird world I live in. Now the idea of this is just because you know me, and have an experience of second position and unconscious assimilation. Yeah, and then we're going to look at how we code it, so then you could take this to do this with other people who you'd like to learn from. Does that make sense, everybody? Everybody clear about that?
Yes.
Good, good stuff. All right. So there's no writing down. I'll give you maybe 5 or 6 minutes each. Now, whatever you do, when you go into the exercise, Dale's going to put you in breakout rooms. Firstly, just spend a moment to go into the peripheral state, you know, and then kind of start to sit as if you're me. Obviously, you've got to elect who's going first, who's going second. And then, without thinking, be Michael Carroll, the hypnotist. Very good. Very good. 30 Michael Carrolls on one screen. Okay, let's do it. We'll give you 6 minutes each. You know, just go with the process. Don't worry about getting it right or wrong. Just have a bit of fun, and you're going to be surprised, I think. Okay? So Dale's going to put you in the groups. I probably won't come around because I might distract you. Or the other person with his 2 Michaels in the room. So we're just going to leave you to it, because I think, Dale, we won't visit, because if we visit the room, the breakout room, we're going to take you out of the state, if that makes sense. Yeah, so we're just going to leave you to it for 12 minutes, yeah? 6 minutes each. And then we can have a conversation after. Hey, Taylor, how are you? Taylor, right? How are you, all right? How? You could do a bit of hypnosis of her now, Tyrrell.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so now we're going to go into the exercise. Is it clear to everybody? Yeah? Enjoy yourself. That's tomorrow we're singing. Have fun, guys, and I'll see you back here in about 12 minutes, yeah? Dale will set the breakout rooms. For those of you who are new, actually we need to explain that, yeah? For those of you who are new, what will happen is you'll be automatically moved into a room, a virtual room. You're not going to be transported out to another area, into a virtual room with a course colleague here. Yeah, and normally we go around and look at and observe you in exercises, but today we're just going to leave you to it. And then at the end of the exercise, you'll be automatically transferred back into this room with everybody. All right. So Dale now is just going to put you into the groups.
Okay, guys, so I'm going to be putting you into the groups shortly. The majority of you will be in groups of 2. There may be your groups of 3. Is there anybody, I know one or 2 people have messaged they're not doing the exercise. If you're not, can you message me now? If you have any problems, press the I need help button and I will come and help you guys out. Okay? See you soon. Enjoy.
Have fun, guys.
Irina, are you joining the session?
No, sorry, I cannot participate in the practice today.
No problem. Thank you for the information.
I'll wait here.
Hey, Karen.
Everyone's back in about 50 seconds.
How are you today, Karen? You good?
Very good, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Have you just joined us?
No, I have been in the other courses. Are great.
Oh, no, I know that. I mean, today, did you just...
No. I was in mute and without camera. I was looking, yeah.
Nice to see you. Welcome back, all you beautiful Michael Carrolls.
Bienvenido de vuelta.
How was that?
Enjoyed.
Was it good?
Absolutely.
Good. Who would like to share your version? Well, let's get a few of you up here now. Who's feeling brave and wants to go into, oh my, this will be great fun, this will. The usual people, rocking, harsh, and let's go to the Chinese, Michael Carroll.
Yeah, no, the Chinese, the American Megan Carroll, Michael Carroll in America, in Miami. She's really like you, and she acting, breathing, and talking things like you did in Hypnosis before. Unconscious, conscious, she did so naturally. I think she's very gifted. I can feel it's being hypnotized by you. That's so amazing. Wonderful job, Megan.
Fair play. Let's go and have a now. After that, we have to go, definitely go and have a look. He certainly built it up very well. So now we're going to go to the American, Miami, Michael Carroll.
That was so fun. No, just kidding. That was so fun. Oh my gosh, that was great. I will say, I wanted to ask Rocky, so I started off really trying to carry on the accent, and then instead I just kind of dropped the accent, but still kept like the deeper.
Show everybody now, show everybody how you do it, yeah?
Okay, so what I did is I just looked into my peripherals and took 2 deep breaths. Am I actually doing it or short version?
Be me. Don't talk about it, do it.
Okay. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Michael.
How are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. Are you going to put me into a trance?
Yes. So, Michael, I would like you to pick a spot on the wall. And as you stare at this spot on the wall, you can begin to become aware of 3 spots on either side of that spot on the wall. You can begin to see colors, any pictures or images. As you see whatever it is you see in front of you, you can begin to become aware of any sounds in the room.
That is really good. Well done, yeah?
Okay. I was like, it's a lot when everyone was watching you, but I felt like I was better when I do it with Rocky.
Well, yeah, you did very well, though. I know you get lost it, but very well. Now, Megan hasn't studied NLP formally, but in there, she had my presuppositions in linguistic form, you know, and, you know, this is one side, you know, Megan is actually very good, but she hasn't studied NLP. She's attended a lot of classes that are quite advanced, but she hasn't done the core stuff. And I think she does it through modeling. Now we're going to go to have a look at the Indian Michael Carroll. Harsh.
Hi, Michael. Just a quick question. So I was working with Gail, and I would like to describe how she, put me in a trance, if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah? So apparently I ended up taking a little more time than necessary with her. So she was left with just about 4 minutes. Nonetheless, she was amazing in taking me, if I may call it, very quickly through to the trance. Mm-hmm. And I thought that I would not be able to go like deep enough, if I may call it. And yet with the kind of linguistics that she used, with the kind of a few metaphors that she used, I believe there was a stream and a flowing river or something was there, but it was so pleasant that it was instantaneous like that.
Very good.
Yes, and coming out, although we were just whooshed into back into the main session, yet the ending was also not so abrupt, but at the same time, it was near enough to the close, and I'm happy that I had Gail to work on me. So.
Gail, very nice. Well done. Give a round of applause. So what we've done here in this afternoon so far, in terms of modelling, and with some really nice evidence of how this works, we've definitely got a model of excellence, and you've done this unconscious simulation. Yeah, you've acted as if you were me. Now, this is all, it just makes you realize how important it is. This is all about state. So when Haji came back from being a spiritual guru, he sat down, you can see what happened once he started thinking about it, yeah? That takes you out of state. And obviously, Megan was on the spot and very brave to do that. But you could see when she came out of state a little bit, when she started to think about it and becoming self-conscious. One thing that will surely mess up your performance in anything is being overly self-conscious and worrying about making a fool out of yourselves or what other people might think. Don't forget them, yeah? So it's kind of like, the way to learn do you get how powerful this is as a learning tool? So you want to learn something from anybody, absorb it, even if it's a technical skill or an internal skill like mathematics, their state determines the computations that they can do. So it's about state. When you do the body language, you get the state. Now to do this, you certainly got to be in a know-nothing state, totally open, and then you absorb. And once you've absorbed enough, then you can step back and begin to code, which we'll do after the break. And then I'll talk about presentation skills. Okay? Are we having fun, everybody? Good stuff? I've got a couple of questions in the chat box. If I can find it. Got it now. So well done, girl from Harsh. Yeah, because yes and no. So Stephanie's asked, is modeling different from acting? Well, in acting, sometimes you're acting as if you're acting a fictitious character. Although what I do a course here, a hypnosis course, when we can, and same old jokes. And one of the things is deep trance identification. And just to practice, some people do deep trance identify with fictitious characters. But with modeling, it's different because with acting, it's an external output, yeah? And with modeling, it's to get a skill, to get something. Although actors, one thing in modeling, you've got to be careful you don't overly assimilate. So for example, when it was first suggested to John Grinder that he and Bandler go and model Ericsson, he didn't want to go, you know, and it took him 4 months to decide to go, because they by now were opening themselves up, which in many ways, and they didn't know about filters, so they absorbed everything, you know. Now Ericsson, he had had diabetes, 2 bouts of polio, colorblind, in a liver condition, he was a tone deaf, he was dyslexic, and a few other things as well. You know, so he had a number of challenges, and he was 78 and not in good health. So Grinder, you know, if you know Grinder, he's 80 and in brilliant health. Then if you met him, he's just a walking machine in many ways. You know, he's a remarkable human being. You can imagine what he was like when he was 30. Yeah, and he did not want to open himself up to all of that. So now we know about filters. We say we open ourselves up. I'll talk about this at the end, but we make a deal with our unconscious to filter out anything that will call into question our health or well-being. Let's close on this now for a break, because this is quite relevant. I was teaching a master practitioner, actually that master practitioner Nlpedia one, back in 2004, when my hair was darker, and there's a little bit less of me. I find it so weird watching that video. I know I keep saying it. There's a guy in that course called Chris Thomas, and you might have saw him on the course. He had osteoporosis arthritis, and he's only a young man. He's about the same age as me. And so when he sat on the course, he's a great guy, but his body was like this. He's a young man in the body of an old man, you know. But he was a good rapport getter, and it was quite a small group. And I found myself, as the course got on, starting to do this unintentionally. Yeah, because the last thing you do is ever mirror a disability, you know. And I'm like, and I had to keep doing this because I didn't want him to think, you know, I was being disrespectful. But he was just in his sense that he had the lead in this sense. I just kept going like this. By the end of the 2 weeks, I had pain across my back, and my neck was to one side. Yeah, and I had to literally keep doing this. So, not in the video, I don't think. Good morning, everybody. We're doing a squish today. So anyway, the last day of that master practitioner course, we had Grinder coming to London to do an introductory evening, and we were starting a course the following day. So I think we finished on a Thursday. We're starting a course on the Friday in the new Breakout Rooms, and it's a big open evening for John Grinder. There is another story about it. So I've gone up there, and I'm still like this, but I was on the camera at that time. So I thought, what am I going to do? I thought I'll model John, because he's got great posture. So I had one eye on the camera, one eye on John. So it's actually quite a good split awareness. And so I started to get into his posture. 20 minutes, I was fine. Yeah, so you can model health or not health. Yeah, so, you know, it's all in the body, it's all in the state. Yeah, you can model anything. So, but there's a caveat of when I didn't know about filters, I was naturally finding myself doing that. You might find that yourself as well. So we'll talk about self, you know, if you're going to be doing modeling and learning this way, it's great for learning languages, by the way. If you're going to, or even if you're going to be a coach, it doesn't happen as much online, I don't think. And in the proximity of other people, as a coach, and you're building rapport, or a hypnotist, you don't want to be picking up other people's physiological challenges. Yeah, that makes sense? Does that make sense, guys? Good stuff. Funny enough, there's this Dale Turnbull down here. He came to my attention in a really weird way, but it was about 3 years ago in Gallipoli. Someone was telling me, this guy is doing really good impressions of you. And like normally, I think I must have a lot of traits, because when I see these impressions, I don't think they're that much like me. They've got a piece of me, you know. But on every course, there's always one or two who's doing the impressions, but people say that Dale's doing really good impressions of you. So I thought, well, we'll see about that. So I said, so I looked around the room with Dale too. I said, come on. I said, oh, you do good impressions of me. So he came up on stage and did it, and it was really good. It was really good. In fact, it was so good, it was like listening to me, you know. And it's quite interesting how I developed, because then a year later, I said, Dale, do that impression. And he did it, and it was different. But it wasn't as different. I'd evolved in that year. I'd changed, you know, so we're always changing. That's how he came to my attention. He's a good modeler as well. So is it like acting? You're acting, it's like acting as if. Yeah? So, and you could do this in any context. If you are not confident, who do you know who would be confident? Yeah? If you are overly, well, if you are not relaxed, who do you know who would be relaxed? Act as if you're them. So this can be done in any context, yeah, in terms of a quick short term, or to acquire a skill over a period of time. Okay, so let's take a 6 or 7 minute break. We'll come back here. Actually, I'll give you a 10-minute break. We'll probably overrun about 10 minutes as usual, if that's all right, everybody.
We've got a few questions, Michael. A few questions in the box below.
1635. We're going to look at how we code a model, and then we're going to look at how we present a model. I think there's a question in the chat box. Yes, they do, Gail. They certainly do. So, Stephanie's got a point there. They model us, and then they rebel it. Well, yes and no. Did you rebel your parents, Stephanie? Did you?
Well, yeah, I like to think so.
Well, they're modelling you.
Yeah, I try not to think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you want them to rebel you. You don't want them to take everything you say, otherwise they're just going to grow up to be compliant.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's my opinion. That's a really gross content imposition. I liked it when my kids rebelled. I thought they're doing things right now. Because if a kid takes everything you say, they're just going to grow out into little you. They've got no scope. But it's a part of developing, I think. Right, we don't get into that now. I'll see you all back here in 10 minutes, guys. Well done, great job there. Very good work, yeah? See you back here in 10 minutes.
The same link, guys. We'll stay on the same link for the session.
I'm talking to him now. Same link. Oh, everybody. Right. See you back here in 10 minutes.
For all the people to dial in or like connect online if they want to. Is that correct? Because at the beginning, when Michael a few days ago was saying, I understood that was only for people in the US or Latin America where they just cannot travel.
Well, for example, some people can't travel in Europe for specific, like let's say for personal reasons. You might have certain family members and stuff. You can also join on the live stream. We'd obviously like to have you in person, but yeah, some people have just got to make that certain decision. So if that's where you're at, we can just talk about it, we can organize it and make sure you're all set up. And then you can practice with course colleagues online, get everything you get here, and you get to do next year completely free as well. So yeah, that's what we're putting together, but we'll be sending out emails shortly with all that information.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Dave.
No problem. Okay, guys, if you can turn your cameras back on, we are beginning.
Dale?
Yes.
Maura, this is Maura. When Michael was doing his demo, the trance demo, I couldn't see him. I could only see the person who was going into a trance. Why was that?
Okay, so you may have had speaker view activated, which is a button on the top right-hand side. If you click on it, you can click gallery view, and that will allow you to see multiple people.
Right. Okay.
And
that's what I need to do when there are just two people. Yeah, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. This is Catherine. She's our PA.
Hi, everyone.
So we're all back in the office now, planning our next adventure. which is Gallipoli. So Dale was just saying there, I'm thrilled. Well, things changing with this COVID, but so far I'm thrilled to be going to Gallipoli. So we're not going to a castle anymore. We're going to a hotel. I've got a nice hotel there, great room, really good for social distancing. And I've just worked it out. I've been doing a bit of a scan of the NLP world. This is the only NLP trainers training in the world that's going ahead this year, So we're starting on October the 6th. I'll be there live with a live group. It's a small group. It'll be a great course. It'll be a small group. And then we're streaming John and Carmen live into that session. So everybody can get their certificate. I've said it, it's certificate. Everyone get their certificate. I can't say it now. Everyone can get their piece of paper, certificate. That's it. Everyone get, we've signed so many of them. Everyone get their certificate as if, as they would. So it's there now. We're also doing a coaching course and practitioner course. It's going to be a small course well, it might not be because people are kind of, thinking again, but so far it's relatively small. We've got a great hotel for social distancing. The castle will be too big, so we're launching this next week. So if you want to come down, hang out with us in Gallipoli, if you're able to travel, come because it's going to be fantastic. Yeah, and I'm just thrilled to bits to be able to do a live event, obviously taking into account the social distancing. But so if you want to get in a trainer or practitioner or just come and hang out with us, it's going to be good. I'm really excited for that one. We do the practitioner with coaching skills, trainers training, module 1, love public speaking. If you get down, come down. It's going to be a one-off. And also anyone who does it this year, we're offering free repeats next year on the basis that John, Carmen, and I will be live somewhere in a venue. So we're offering, free repeats next year. So the people who are actually doing this course this year are actually getting 3 courses. They've got one in May, one in October, and one next year. We're making the best trainers and practitioners in the world. So talk to Dale if you'd like to join us down there in Gallipoli. We'd love to have you there if you are in Europe and can travel all parts of the world where we can get to Europe, So let's go into the next piece now. We're going to put you back into a breakout room. It could be different ones actually, Dale, this time. I'll put them into groups of 3. Yeah, and what I'd like to do this time is one of you can be me, Michael. One will be the client, and the other will be the observer. And you can cycle around. This is this. And the observer's job is to write down the distinctions that I do in this case. Yeah. Now we know it's a Betty Erickson technique, so we don't need to write that down. So we know that. I'd like you to think about tonality, when the tonality changes, posture, and other things that we haven't taught you. Yeah, does this make sense? So you're going to provide a little code so that if you were teaching the hypnotic skills of Michael Carroll, yeah, this is the code. This is the description, yeah? Does it make sense to everybody? Make sense? Good stuff. Okay, anyway, so good stuff. We're going to put you into groups of 3. Let's do a time check. It's 43. So we'll call you back here about 10 past. So you've got some time to practice this, to get a code down. And if you go around the 3 ways, you'll see and hear different things. So modeling is one thing, absorbing is one thing. This Bandler was very good at it, but he couldn't code it. Yeah, he didn't know how to code it, or maybe he was too in it to code it. So that's where John came in as a linguist as well. But Grinder insisted, he was smart in that sense. He didn't stand and observe. he modeled Bandler being pearls and then coded it. So we now really, what are we doing? We are modeling how NLP was created in exactly the same way, yeah? But we'll all stay friends. That's a pretty bad joke. The early NLP people didn't stay friends. There's a question in the chat box. Yeah, that's correct. So, well, you'll cycle around. So do 5 minutes each, the observer. Then at the end, the observers can swap notes, yeah, to draw a model up. So one's hypnotist. One's a client, and the observer is going to write down. Now, when you do observer, it'd be good if you micro muscle mirrored. You're welcome, Warren. It'd be good if you could micro muscle mirror the hypnotist, because then you're going to be in the state as well. Okay, this is a nice, interesting exercise just to give you an opportunity now to step back, yeah, and look at behavioral shifts you have when you model somebody else, because then you can begin to do this unconsciously and consciously. Is that clear to everybody? Good stuff. Have fun. This time we will come around because it's a different exercise, yeah? Have fun, guys. He's on a different program. He's on the Master Practitioner Mentoring Plan, which we were supposed to be running in France this year. So he's here, having done a practitioner master, he's done trainers training and new coach trainers training with us. Great man. And so he's in a role of giving feedback as well, alongside myself and Dale. Let's give him a round of applause. We didn't really acknowledge him. Let's give him a round of applause and welcome him here as one of our mentors, yeah? Okay. So now we'll go into the exercises. And we'll talk to Sajid after. He can tell us a little bit more about himself so you all can get a feel of the quality of the team here, yeah? Okay, guys, have fun, yeah?
Enjoy. Everyone's back in 3, 2, 1, and everyone should be back. Up. Sound. Can't hear you, Michael.
So childish. I did that last week. Everyone's going. Never overdo the joke, Michael. Never repeat the same joke more than 10 times in a day. Well done, guys. I just want to say I went around there and it was very impressive to watch all those idiosyncratic, those behaviors that I do, you know. So now this isn't about you becoming me. This is about you visiting me almost to learn, and then you're going to package it in your own style, yeah? So for example, Milton Erickson, he spoke in his voice box was one side of his body was paralyzed, including half of one side of his tongue, one side of his voice box, you know. So he spoke in a low, gravelly voice like this. As you listen to me, you're going to go into trance. Now, Bandler and Grindle, when they went to model Erickson, Grindle was in his early 30s, maybe 33, 34. Bandler was in his early 20s. You know, and they were in essence hippies. They have long hair and, you know, the Californian trends of the time. And Erickson was quite a traditional man. And so when they came back, they absorbed everything and they started to subtract. So it's like, do we need to speak like this when we're doing hypnosis? So they took the voice out, put their own voices in. Do you think it worked? Did it work? Did it work? No. No. Don't get too shocked, Megan. Didn't. And they thought, do we have to talk like an old man for the rest of our lives? So when they went back to Erickson, they went back into the deep trance identification. And they realized Erickson had different ranges. He had at least 2 voices, if not more. One for the conscious mind and one for the unconscious mind. One for the conscious mind and one for the unconscious. So that what they learned to do is to deepen their own voices. So the gravity voice is idiosyncratic. So you haven't got to start speaking in an English accent, yeah? Which is, Gary will go, no fucking way. Man up there in Scotland.
Yeah, you're right, mate. Not at all, not at all.
So you haven't got to start speaking in an English accent to do what I do, but you might find your tonality. Well, so when you do the hypnosis, it's not my accent that, although it's much better saying trance than trance, as they do in America, Scotland and Ireland, trance. So and when I went round, you had it really well, you know. So who would like to share a couple of the things that you noticed second time round that you became aware of because you watched other people doing it? So you become aware of sorry, Dale. I'll get told off now later on. Turning the sheets too quickly. I haven't been shaking the table today. How many became aware of the behaviours that you modelled? You know, once you saw other people doing it, it gives you another reference point. Yeah. So who would like to share with what you observe? Let's go down to Harsh in India. Hey, Harsh.
Hey, hi, Michael. So I was with Rocky and David, and the observations. So first, Rocky was the one who was modeling you, and took David into a deep trance. So the things that I noticed specifically, there was a slight posture-wise, there was a slight tilt to the way how Rocky was sitting while doing the trance rather than how he's sitting now. There was a deeper tonality to his voice.
Mm-hmm.
If I may call it, not his usual excited self, but a very, very calm version.
Well done, Rocky. It's good behavioural flexibility. Well done, Harsh, for observing that. And again, you know, it's good to have the ability to be excited, and it's good to have the ability to go rather quiet as well. So that's an observation there. You know, so you can begin to code it looking at tonality, body posture, eyes. Who else would like to share what you observed? Dorothy? We're just going to get around a translation room.
One of the things that Karen and I were speaking about was that we noticed that every once in a while you speak very, very quickly, and then there's silence.
Very good.
And you get closer. So we've noticed that like there's a rhythm change where it's almost like a machine gun going boom, 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 and then it's space, and then you get closer and you say something. That's one of the things that we noticed.
Think.
Pardon me?
Very good. So that's good. Again, rhythms of when you have a rhythm and unusual pauses. The brain's routine, it's expected to hear something. And when you interrupt the rhythm, people go into trance. Anyone else like to share what you observed?
I'll share, if that's all right. Is that okay, Michael?
Yeah, let's come down to Gary, who's up there in Scotland.
So I was with Maura and Gail, and what we learned was the Ericksonian technique and the hypnotic trance, that everybody's got that coded very well. They've got it in different ways, but certainly when you open it up and like start to use it, it works, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is. It's great to go inside, and it's great to reward the unconscious for everything up to this point and future. So yeah, thanks very much for that. It's great to revisit this.
Well, you're welcome, Gary. Thank you for revisiting us. It's a pleasure to have you here. So now, modeling, you know, doesn't always have to be the NLP modeling project was a complex encounter. Went on 7 years, yeah. You know, and the first 3 years were really spent modeling and testing. You know, so now obviously you could go into any area, any business, find an expert and model it, you know, and do an in-depth modeling project. I mean, you need probably a bit more practice, but modeling can exist in your everyday life. You know, when you want to do something, when you're pushing yourself, acting as if, you know, if you're learning, we're learning, you know, organisms. So to learn, if you're going to take on a new sport or a hobby, the teacher teaches you. You're just going to take up dancing, the teacher teaches you. You take up golf, you get a teacher, yeah? And that's fine. But give it a go at modeling it as well. You know, because you get it deep in your circuits, really, really deep in your circuits. I've been working with John Grinder now for 18 years, you know, and, you know, as I've developed through the years, I noticed quite a lot of his part, not all of it, parts of his layering, you know, is inherent in me. And things I used to challenge him on, I now do, bizarrely enough. You know, different behaviors. See, with someone long enough, you know, you're going to model. If you go into a company or a culture, happened to me in financial services, which is one reason I wanted to get out of it. You know, some companies or industries, they're not companies or industries, they're cults. You know, recruitment is what the modern day cult. Financial services, it was a cult. If you wasn't a certain persona, you didn't fit, you ain't going to make it. Yeah, unless you're a very strong character. So when people came in, you know, slowly, they built a kind of cult-like environment. Slowly, I saw people change through modeling the behaviors that became normal, which probably may not have been normal outside of that door. Does that make sense? And this is how these organizations thrive. It is like a cult because people become alien. What's outside in the real world becomes the abnormal, yeah? And what's in this cult becomes the norm. And if you're there long enough, people lose themselves, and boy, did they lose themselves, you know? Which is one of the reasons I never got into, you know, a lot of the stuff that they got into, but it was there, you know, and I saw people change. You know, so this is modeling, yeah? Has this been useful for you guys? Now, I recommend my Master Practitioner course. The next one takes place in December in London. We're going to be streaming everything now. On my Master Practitioner course, we spend 2 or 3 days modeling. Firstly, the whole week, first week, we practice modeling. The second week, you undertake a modeling project, yeah, and you present it to the group on the final day as part of your certification, using a specialist format, which I'm going to share. You know, so if you know, it's in December now, so you want to learn to take this to another level. You know, I built the course on modeling. You know, and when we teach to a certain extent, the way I teach, we don't tell people too much. We want them to model, we want them to learn through experience. Yeah. So I'm just going to show you now, if you're going to present a modeling project, how you do it. It's a bit similar to you guys who've already been down with us on trainers training. You know, so if you're going to present a modeling project, number one, just give them these two could be alternated, yeah? Give them a frame. It's like what you modeled, yeah? You don't want to tell them too much at this point. What or who you modeled. Then a metaphor. Now you can do these two the other way around. And that metaphor, we use metaphors a lot in NLP, it should be isomorphic to the task, but not so obviously explicit. So when we use metaphor, we are creating circuits in people's brains for what's about to come. It's priming the unconscious. Now, the next thing you do is, this is what I asked the company to do today, and you know, you flipped out of a state a bit. The next minute you do a precise demo of what it is you modeled. Yeah? So they can see it. And that's what we do at the master practice. Have a demo here, and that is the evidence that you have acquired a skill or some knowledge that you didn't have previously. Does this make sense to people? The next thing then, you're going to present the code. The steps. You know, so what these people had, this is 3 alternative descriptions. A metaphor, a demo, and the code is for the conscious mind. The next thing you do is let the people do it themselves, following your code. They could model you, so that's an experience. If they can do it without meeting the model, ever, like we didn't meet Erickson, I don't think many of us did here, then the model has worked because you have transferred something you modeled to people who didn't meet the original source. Now, NLP is a great example of this because a lot of people in NLP haven't even met Bandler or Grinder, let alone Erickson, but they get the patterns. You know, so NLP's, one of the things is it stood the test of time in terms of passing knowledge on that was modeled from experts in their own field in a fraction of a time. Did you want an opportunity for people to have a debrief of the exercise? They can ask questions. And then you close with a metaphor or a generalization about how this skill can be applied in everyday life. Now, in the NLPedias, there's a slightly different format. So this is the latest version. In NLPedias, I talk about a thing called the format system. We don't use that anymore. It's a bit too conscious mind orientated. Yeah, but you can do it differently where how that translates is, this is the why. That's an unconscious why. That's the conscious why. This is the what. So it's a different order. This is the how. And this is the what if. One challenge of the format system, which is presented in the NLPedia, but I think I did have it changed by them. But as the format's taught in NLP, it's actually a misrepresentation in many cases. So you get the why, yeah, and then you tell them what they're going to learn, yeah? And by doing that, you're actually just imposing content on somebody, yeah, or your content. It's not, I'm not saying you're imposing content in the same, I don't mean imposing content as we impose content when we're doing therapy. but you're just giving people a bunch of conscious mind stuff. That's not teaching anything. You're passing down words, yeah? Then they get the demo. Their demo is limited by what you've already told them because you've set up filters for what's to come, yeah? So people are just really following steps. When I teach, I want to teach people how to think like an NLP professional. So I'm not going to tell people what to look for. I'm going to present it to them and let them find it themselves, which is what you've done today here. Whilst I was using Ericksonian hypnosis, you know, I've got my own unique style. You know, so what you did today, I didn't teach you anything. I just created the context for you to learn. And this mirrors a lot of my courses, actually. Yeah, so we did an exercise on the practitioner course, online, sorry, on the Love Public Speaking course, where the guy here from Canada, God, he's the smartest guy, like, he knows all that, he's like a human calculator. But I asked him something, I thought about the third law of, I can't remember what it wasn't the third law of thermodynamics, it was something like that. But it's something you could repeat. So I got him to say it to people who didn't really know it, but they could tell the next person, and they could tell the next person, and they could tell the next person. So they think, even they could think they know it, but they didn't. Excuse me. That's what's happened a lot in NLP, where people are just telling people things. 4 steps to anchoring without them having experience, 6 steps to submodality map acrosses, and so on. That's not learning. That's telling. There's a big difference. You know, and if you've got young people, children, which I know many of you have, and I hope all your families are doing well, by the way, you know, you want to create context for them. You know, we're there, and Stephanie was talking earlier about the kids starting to rebel. Good, because you don't want them to be programmed by teachers, because teachers aren't actually teaching much. What teachers are doing nowadays in Great Britain is teaching kids how to pass exams, yeah? Because they're getting measured on exams. Now, an exam is not necessarily a sign of intelligence, it's a sign of being good at exams. I know many intelligent people who are not good at exams, and I know people who are good at exams who are not as intelligent as other people in that subject, yeah? And a teacher was telling me it was the same as weighing. I appreciate all of you celebrate Christmas, yeah? But of the Christmas turkey, over here people have a turkey at Christmas. I don't, because I don't eat meat anymore. But they have a turkey, yeah? And the teacher said it's the same as weighing a Christmas turkey without ever feeding it, yeah? And that's the same as what's happening in the education systems. We're assessing people without actually giving them learning strategies, and the school is assessed on how many exams, on its ability of its students to pass exams. Now, there's a school not too far from here called the Whitgift School. And it's one of the, in England, by the way, this is going to sound weird to a lot of people, or in Britain, a public school is not a public school. Yeah? It's not a school for the public. It's a school for the very, very wealthy. So if you look at our current government in the UK, they all went to one of the best public schools. It's called Eton, okay? All right, so over the road there's a school here called the Whitgift School. It's it's a really good school, public school, or private school as you call it, yeah? And, you know, I teach a thing called photo reading, yeah? And I got called in. They invited me. It was directly opposite this school. If you know Darren Brown, you might have heard of that. He went to that school. That's not relevant to this story. Bit of name dropping. Croydon, Darren Brown, Michael Carroll, Kate Moss. So they took me over to teach photo reading to the Oxbridge group. And every year there's 50 sixth formers, 50 people who are in the thing called the sixth form, which is the sort of, like, I think it's called junior college in the States, which is the place before the university. They're teaching them photo reading to the creme de la creme in that school. They're taught presentation skills. They're taught persuasion skills because they've got to go for an interview. So they are intelligent people, but they've got a one hell of a head start. Yeah, does this make sense? So now I felt really after that. I come back here. I come from a different part of this town. Yeah, I come back here and I thought, fuck it. I thought, oh my God, you know, I've helped these people, these boys, and they're good boys. I thought, what about the kids in Hackney? Yeah, what about the kids in Stockwell? Now these are not good areas. These are kind of rough areas of London. So I know a friend of mine's a teacher in a school in Hackney. I rang him up. I said, I want to come in and teach the underprivileged kids and the ones who are in a lot of trouble. Yeah, for this skill. Yeah, because I want to help the ones who want to learn. I went down a great crack with them. I tell you, really good fun. But I just felt like that because, you know, I'm going off on a tangent here, but you know, some people are given a lot of opportunities, and the way people are taught doesn't necessarily mean they're clever over there. It means they know how to get into Oxford and Cambridge. Now, when they're in there, they use it. But there's clever kids in comprehension schools, they can't get in because they don't know certain things. So this is learning. I think I want to put across, this is learning at a deep level when you model. It's very similar to photo reading. It's actually, what I've taught today isn't that different from how I teach a standard NLP course. Yeah, inductively creating contexts for people to learn. You know, so, you know, next time you want to learn something, you can, obviously I'm not putting a conscious mind out of the equation. I'm saying just practice absorbing. And if you want to get good at this, stretch yourself, yeah? In the sense that pick some skill that's you're not naturally good at, yeah? So Dale, you know, you could try some comedy. Sorry, mate. So anyway,
I'll practice laughing at my own jokes.
Pick a skill that you're not naturally good at. So if you're not a good dancer, give it a go. If you're not a good singer, the chances are you are a much better singer and dancer than you thought you were. You are being restricted by the box that some person put on you when they said you cannot sing or you cannot dance. And that acts as a feed-forward filter because you're hypnotizing yourself. So I can't dance and I can't sing, yeah? So, or a language. Sometimes I can't learn languages. These are things generally that have been imposed on us, yeah? And when we believe it, do you know what you're doing? You are allowing yourself to have an excuse, yeah? So if you're an excuse maker, which I don't think you are, you know, don't be. You know, don't allow those words from the yesteryear impose on you as an adult. You know, people who said you can't do things, you can't dance. Now, this isn't about dancing and singing. This is about learning and opening yourself up, you know, and stretching yourself, yeah, and doing new things. Because if you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always got. I don't think you all want that. You know, one thing COVID has done, it's given us, as Gary mentioned earlier, given me a wonder. I know if anyone's been ill from it or got a family member who's been ill, I'll send you my warmest sensitivities. But what COVID's done for us who stayed healthy, it's given us opportunities to reflect and review our lives, stepping back to third. But it's very easy, if you allow it, to slip back in, yeah, to how you were. I think some of us might have found us doing that. That's what I have. You know, so this has given us an opportunity to reflect. Now, you're all here because you are interested in personal development and invest in yourselves. You know, you come here and to learn, and you all do brilliantly, you know. So you are on the right track. And what I'm going to say to you is to keep developing. Because the day you stop learning is not going to be a good day. Yeah? And never be a clever dick, all right? Now, what clever dick is someone who thinks they know everything. You know, so sometimes when I tell people things on courses, oh, I know that. You know, I know that. In the minute you think that, it's the minute, it's a high chance you don't. I've been doing NLP 25 years. And I know I don't look old enough. Same old jokes. I'm still learning, right? And I learn in every session. You know, and I will never stop learning and developing. You know, so when Dale did that impression of me, which actually was very good, and he was funny that day, yeah, you know, it was really good. But then a year later, I was with a friend and I said, show us that impression. We were like, he's not doing it right. Yeah, but he wasn't. I had changed. If that makes sense. Yeah? I would say, I thought he was good last year. He hasn't got that. But it was me that had moved on, you know? Now, I'm just saying this is just to really, in terms of modeling, you all come here, so challenge yourself. You know, learn a sport, singing, dancing. And it's not necessarily about what it is you're modeling. That's just the channel. It's about your learning how to learn. Okay? Good stuff. I want to thank you all for joining us here today. It's been a real pleasure. It's always a pleasure. I love these sessions. I know I say it all the time, but I love these sessions. I love connecting with all the people here, you know, and the people here who've been on my courses. There's people who were scheduled to come and hopefully will come to Gallipoli. You know, I just think it's a great time in the world to, as I say, learning new things. And NLP now, you know, there's people out there who need this stuff. You know, there's a lot of, I mean, people right now, you know, it's a challenging time for people. It's been a challenge. You know, people have lost their jobs in many cases, or they're uncertain. You know, so the world needs NLP. If ever needs NLP, it's now there's a time where we can bring it to the world in two ways. One, as coaches, or two, as just being a beacon of excellence, how you are in your life, and being genuinely caring about people. So whenever I go into a shop or a social place, I would always talk to people and, you know, like to think that after just a few minutes exchange, their day will be better having had a chat, not with me because of the way I've engaged them or maybe complimented them. Yeah. You know, I don't, you know, or if people work in a service-related industry, they've got a tough time, you know, in general. So I just think by being a beacon of changing yourself and exemplifying the principles of NLP, which is human excellence, yeah, in certain categories, we haven't all got to be perfect. You know, there's a big difference between excellent and perfect. I'm far from perfect. But I'm really good at my job. Yeah? But there's other things I'm really shit at. Yeah, and I don't need to be, well, some of them I could be a bit better in really, because my life would be a lot easier. But, you know what I mean? But I don't need to be perfect at everything. And I don't care that I'm not perfect in certain things, because I'm really good at what I do. Yeah, and I love what I do. But I do like to challenge myself and learn in other things as well, you know? So by being a little an exemplar in some way, you change the world. You know, if you greet a person on the street in a pleasant manner, you don't know what that person was gone through that morning. That person might have had a real shit morning, you know, and you could change their day, you know, or more, you know. So I just think sometimes in NLP, especially these courses, not these ones, the ones in that are in classrooms when we used to be able to do them. People got so caught up in the course, yeah, and they talk about the course, they didn't bring the NLP outside of the course. One of the things I found about this online learning, and I've said this many times, is because you're already outside of the course in your home, is an instant transfer. You know, so we taught these courses in May, supposed to be in Gallipoli. I was stunned, yeah, because in May, when we did the first online program, we did actually 16 or 17 days. So we did 4 days core skills and 6 days new codes. We did one 10-day course, you know, and you got to remember, May was just still in the heart of a lockdown. And people have been in home a long time. You know, I was stunned at the rapid assimilation of the patterns. But I realized everyone was in the chair, in the context of where their current problems were. Because if you had any problems at home, which we all have to a greater or lesser extent, they're going to be accentuated in lockdown. Yeah, any problem you've got a lot of time to focus on it. You know, so people were applying the NLP on themselves in their own context. And do you know what? It was totally magnificent. It was the best generalizations of learnings I've ever seen. Because when you went into an exercise, so what you're working on, most people were in the shit in one way or another, yeah? You know, so it was a tough time. So as I said, that's it for now. I could go on for ages, as you know, but some of you got things to do. Is it evening for some of us? It's still early morning for a few. So for the Costa Rica people, we'll see what time it is what time is it in Costa Rica? About 9 o'clock in the morning?
In Costa Rica, hello, it's 10:45 minutes in the morning.
10:45. You've got a whole day ahead of you, Maria. Lovely to see you here. Just want to welcome Matt back.
Yes, it's my preferred mode to start the day.
I'll have to go back to you now. What did you say, sorry?
I started at 5:30 in the morning.
Well, you start at 5:30.
My exercises and I enjoy this master class.
Very good. Well, so it's nice to have you 10 o'clock. So that's nice. How you doing, Matt?
I'm great. Good to see you, Michael. Another excellent masterclass as always, and really phenomenal to meet all the great delegates as well.
Good. How's the family? How's your daughters?
Yeah, they're really good. My daughter, the one you've met, is doing her driving now. So I'm hoping to get her a car very soon, and that takes a lot of stuff off of me, which is going to be pretty cool.
I know that feeling when they get the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Cost you a few quid, but you've got a lot more time.
Yeah, well.
Okay, guys, so thank you so much for, so thank you so much for being here today. We haven't got any, the next sessions, Dale will tell you what the next sessions are. You know, we're getting ready to gear up for Gallipoli. We're going to put on more of these masterclasses, but also the practitioner level ones as well, using the NLpedia. So we'll let you know about that. It's been a wonderful time. I've thoroughly enjoyed not only teaching this, your wonderful company. As always, a big thank you to Dale down there. Let's just get him on board. So big thank you to Dale. I'm a new scheduler behind him. I said, get a big scheduler. Look how big that scheduler is. So that'll all be full up soon. Big thanks to Dave over there, doing the technology. As always. And we couldn't do it without you. A big thank you to you guys who always come here with such great spirit and willingness to work. So thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to catch up with you all soon. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
And a big thank you to Michael, Anthony, Patrick, Carroll!
Michael, Anthony, Patrick, Seamus, Carroll. They're not all my names. I just added some on. I added them on and I started believing they were my names. Chris, what's your name? Michael, Anthony, Patrick, Chambers, Carroll. I forgot Joseph, actually. So, guys, see you all soon, yeah? Bye-bye.
Thanks, Michael.